For the background trees, I'm using the same type of green. I don't need this to be super dark because I'm putting it over the color that's already there on the hillside. Now when you do background trees, you don't have to worry about being overly detailed. Really, you only need to get one or two of the trees to really look like trees, and then the viewer will do the rest of the work for you. So don't be too concerned about accuracy at this point. And I want to add in some shadow color. Now I'm going to use kind of a violet color, more like a rosy violet color for the shadows in the trees. And the reason why I'm using this color is because I'm hoping that it will help bring out the yellow in the foreground. I'm putting in some cast shadows under the trees, and these cast shadows actually help to build the illusion that they're on a hillside. And now to move on to the foreground trees. So once again, the same types of colors. I'm using yellow ochre, cobalt yellow, and cobalt blue. The same type of green that I used in the background, except now I need it to be a little bit richer in pigment in order to come forward. And for the shadows, that same color, that rose violet color, I'm putting it in on the shadow side of these trees. Now I'm putting in some dark color. This is that same shadow color that I used under the trees, and I like to call these just incidental darks. They're connecting the left side of the painting with the right side of the painting. And then I just picked up some Chinese white and I mixed it with some neutral color I had on my palette already, and this is going to be the base color for my barn. Now I'm going to come back and put some darks into this color. And while I'm waiting for that to dry a little bit, I'm going to move on to the evergreens on the right-hand side. These evergreens aren't necessarily in the reference photo, but they are a nice compositional element to help stop the viewer's eye from leaving the right-hand side of the paper. It needs something of some weight over there. Remember that when you're doing a painting of a scene, you don't necessarily have to be accurate according to the reference photo. You really want to make the composition work. And as long as you get the feel of the subject, then hardly anybody will even notice that you've put in something that's maybe not necessarily there. And now that I've got that done, I can come back and work on that barn. Now I'm mixing up a color using burnt sienna and a little bit of that gray color that I already had there. So it's just a nice dark neutral color. And now for the sheep. Now I'm using a Chinese white to just help build the shape of the sheep. Some of my white shapes don't really look like sheep, so this is going to help me out. And then once again I'm using that neutral violet color, maybe this time a little bit more purple, and I'm painting the shadow side of the sheep. I'm also using this color to drop in the hint of a head here and there. Now the same thing is true with animals. You don't have to worry about every single animal looking exactly like a sheep. As long as you get one or two that look like a sheep, then the viewer will do the rest of the work for you. To make this look more like a pond, I'm putting in a shadow color right along the water's edge. And then I'm also going to work at getting some reflections in this area. I don't want the barn roof to be completely white, so I'm going to drop in some gray color. And again, this seems pretty dark, but it's going to dry a lot lighter than that. And then I just put in a few details here and there, some darks that give the suggestion of fence posts and different things that you would have in a barnyard. I put in the suggestion of some grasses in the foreground, and then I give a couple dry brush strokes in order to indicate just some texture in the foreground. And the final step is to add some cast shadows for the sheep. And once that's done, the painting is finished. I really like doing this landscape. It's just a nice simple one using a limited palette. I like the feel of it because it really feels like a nice bright spring day here in Oregon. Thanks a lot for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this video.